Good morning everybody and welcome back into another video here on the channel, where today we're doing something I've been excited to do for a long time, and that is group all the minifigures by their games. Now, I've done quite a lot of the LEGO Legend of Zelda custom sets and therefore have made quite a lot of LEGO Legend of Zelda minifigures, and one thing I have never done, not even on my own time or on the channel, is put these characters together based on their source material. And that's what we're going to do today, because obviously over a time of a LEGO theme you collect lots of different minifigures from lots of different parts of a said story. The same can be said true for Mario and Lord of the Rings and all of the other licenses. And today I wanted to group them by their source material because they're all nice and mixed. So we're going to jump straight in and we're going to start off with all of the Breath of the Wild figures. And let me tell you, it's really surprising to me that I've drawn so many Breath of the Wild figures. To me, Breath of the Wild, and I guess Age of Calamity's in here as well, there aren't that many characters to me. I don't know why. There's less that stand out apart from Link and Zelda, your main champions, and the enemies. Really, I couldn't see there being so many, and I think it's largely down to, well, the Link variants having all of the different armor pieces for him, and I think that really helps to inflate the count of characters a bit here. But I think pretty much everyone's here. I don't believe there's any huge misses from Age of Calamity yet. Obviously some key outfits for Link, but all the champions are here, the King's here, Cass is here, even some of the side NPCs. You've got Impapura and Robbie in their young and old forms, you've got a monk, you've got Mazkosha, Hinox is here, Moblin's here, Bokoblin, Lizalfos. Really the only big one we're missing is a Talus, but I'm sure he'll show up eventually. Even 2 or 3 of the Guardian variants are already here as well, so there's very little missing from Breath of the Wild. Then our next group is, of course, Skyward Sword. We're sort of going backwards in the timeline here, although I'm sure we'll jump all over the place. And you can see that there is significantly less characters here, and one of the most notable exclusions from the custom set showcase so far is Skyward Sword Zelda. She's just not here yet, and don't worry, she will show up eventually, but this is who we've got so far. We've got Demise and Fi, Link and Girahim, Groose and Impa, all your main characters. There's a couple of Link variants and a couple of exclusive Skyward Sword enemies, particularly the Silent Realm Guardians, Magmamos, and the Dark Lizalfos. We've also got Instructor Olan, but there are definitely some big gaps in the character roster here. However, it's just nice to see them all together, so that's part of the reason we want to show you guys, because it looks cool. And then we have the Toon Link trilogy. So this is, of course, Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. And I chose to keep them together because it is the exact same Link, and, well, there's not that many for each of these games. Of course, you've got your big ones like the Big Octo and the King of Red Lions. You've got Toon Link in 2 different variations, Tetra. You've got the Phantom, Medley, Makar, Beedle, and Chancellor Cole, and the Spirit Tracks, Zelda and Link. But you've also got characters such as Old Man Ho-Ho and the Choo Choos. And honestly, I really like the landscaping here. Again, there's definitely some big gaps in this one still. Plenty more to do when it comes to these characters, but they've made a pretty good headway. Pretty much all of the mains are here. Still got to do Cyclops' brother, but that's just one that will happen eventually. There's so much more to cover. I mean, where's Gonzo? That's a really big exclusion from Wind Waker. And then we have Twilight Princess, which again had more than I was expecting as far as figures go. Not because I think the game is lacking in characters, in fact it's probably got some of the more memorable out of all of the characters. It's because I don't really give that much love to Twilight Princess in the custom set showcase. All of the figures that are here come from about 5 sets. There really haven't been that many, although that Link in the middle has appeared in quite a few sets. Another thing we have here, of course, are the characters. We've got a lot of horses. The Castletown People Pack really contributed to the number of characters in this one. And then, of course, one of my favourites, the Bulbo build for the Bublins to sit on. We've got the Dark Nut as well, and Zant looks really good as well. There were just more characters than I was expecting, and it's really nice to me in particular that while I drew all of these guys separately and didn't really take much into consideration at the time, they do all look like they're from the same game, and I really think that's a really happy accident. They do all fit the same colour palette. I don't know if that's something we notice if we compare it to the Toon Link thing, where we've got all these bright and primary colours, and then we look at this palette, it's definitely more earthy, just like the real game, which is a complete accident, but I think it's something you'd only ever get to see by putting them all together. Not to mention, it's just nice to see all the Resistance members and Ganondorf, Link and Zelda all together. We don't get to see these characters outside of their sets often, and it's really nice to go and take a look back through them. And then we have another fairly bright and colourful page, which is of course the Hero of Time. So this is Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, and there is definitely more of an Ocarina of Time bias here. Although the Majora's Mask characters are making a comeback, we've got our Ocarina of Time Link in the middle along with Dark Link. We've got our sages, of which we're still missing a couple. We've already got Saria, Naboru, Darunia and Ruta, but we're still missing Impa and what's his name, Rauru, as well as Zelda, of course. She's another one that hasn't quite appeared yet. And we also have some great enemies like Bongo Bongo and Goma. These are some of my favourite brick built of the bosses, and they just look great, and they're from Ocarina, aren't they? We've also got a Epona on here somewhere, maybe, as well as the Lon Lon Ranch Cow and the Redead, as well as Dead Ham. There's a really nice mix here, and once again, they look great as a group. This is just the cool thing to me, like when people bought all of the Lord of the Rings sets back in the day, they put all the figures together and show off the full collection, and we can do the same here with all of our customs. Unfortunately, outside of the big 3D titles, however, there is a bit less representation. Obviously, some characters appear in multiple games, but as far as specifically exclusive characters to 2D games, we have Ravio and the Ice Wizrobe from A Link Between Worlds, and we have Vati and Minish Link from the Minish Cap. I definitely want to expand more into the 2D games, however, they're much harder as far as artistic interpretation, and given how much older most of them are, it's something that I don't believe LEGO would touch, and while we've got some elements of realism in the custom set showcase, this is probably one that I've stuck with. However, there are a couple more groups that I think is worth looking at. If you bought every single custom set, here are all the links you would get. I mean, of course, you're going to get multiples of some Link variants like the Champion's Tunic Link and the Twilight Princess Tunic Link. However, that's besides the point. If you bought all of the sets, these are all the different types of links you get. So we've got everything from the Age of Calamity Soldiers Link to the Champion's Tunic Link to Digi Link to Dark Link to Magic Armor Link to Naked Link to Minish Link to Wolf Link to Ancient Armor Link to Zora Link to Climbing Link to Child Link to Adult Link to Toon Link to Gingerbread Link. All of the links are here, even the ones from the advent calendars, and this is a shot I love. This is the way I want them to do it. Not 17 identical Iron Mans. I want my variants of Link. Just like how we get variants of the Toads and the Yoshis, and we had like 4 different Aragorns and a couple of different Harry Potters. I want this colourful spread of Links. They are all adorable, and there's only about 4 different head molds here, so it's really not that improbable. Either way, I love this image so much. I love seeing them all here with all their weapons and all their determination faces. I just cannot believe I've drawn so many, and it's just so cool to see. We also then have the Zeldas, which by comparison there's a few less of. Of course, we do have the 2 Advent Calendar variants here, so I guess those count as non-canon outfits. But you've got the 3 Breath of the Wild Zeldas, the Phantom Zelda, the Twilight Princess Zelda, and then the Spirit Track Zelda. And I really do feel like we are missing Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword Zeldas in particular, as well as that 2D Zelda which had the bow in her hair. We'll get to them. I promise we will get to them. They're just the right custom sets haven't shown up yet, and I'm trying to put a nice order to it. But either way, this is also a very cool image. I just wish there were a couple more here. And then we have the main villains. So the way I classified this is main game antagonists. This is not bosses, this is not fodder. We'll get to those in just a minute, and trust me, those images are really cool too. But here we have our main villains from each of the games we've covered, and there are more villains here than there are games represented in the custom set showcase, which is ironic to me. We have Calamity Ganon, Skull Kid, or should I say Majora's Mask. We have Girahim, Demise, Ganondorf and Zant. Those 4 are a bit weird. And then we have Vati and Chancellor Cole as well. All of our main game villains that we've done across the season. I chose not to include Santa Ganondorf here because he wasn't actually a main game antagonist. He was a non-canon appearance. And then we'll move on to the creatures. These are all of the large brick-built animals. Not every single brick-built thing I've done, just the brick-built animals, not enemies and creatures and things. So we have a collection of 4 different Koroks, 4 different horses, an Octo, the Boblin, also Bobo. We have the Gomerling, we have the Deku Scrub, the Cow, the Helmasaur, if you're wondering what that is in the bottom left, as well as Link and Groos's Loftwings. And if we're looking at Hyrule Castle in particular, you can see here that I put together a little mix-up of everyone from the Breath of the Wild Hyrule Castle. We've got 2 Royal Guards and 2 Castle Soldiers, King Rombos from Hyrule, the Soldier version of Link, as well as Zelda. So this is a pre-Calamity Hyrule Castle lineup, and once again, I think they all fit together absolutely wonderfully. We also, of course, have the Guardians, and this includes everything from the Guardian Stalker to the Guardian Skywatcher, the Guardian Scout Mark IV, and then Terraco. as he's known. And there's another cool lineup, not my favourite of all time, and obviously a bit sparse, but there aren't that many Guardians. Next up, we have the Sheikah researchers. I just wanted to put the Age of Calamity lot together, and we have Robbie and Pura, who look perfect next to each other, and then of course the Sheikah warriors as well. When we have the Skyward Sword Guardians with the Watchers, and then the Sky Watcher and Land Guardian as well, just another cool combination that I don't know if we've seen before. We have Monk Maz Kosha's final trial, where it's just big Monk Maz Kosha throwing all of his clones around. And then we move on to the bosses, something a bit more interesting to take a look at. So this is every enemy that I have drawn that is a fightable encounter in any one of the games. So of course you've got the 4 Blights up in the top right hand corner, who again look really awesome together. And let's not forget that those are actually a 4-in-1, where you could rearrange the pieces to make each one of them. We've also got Monk Maz Kosha in his small form, as well as Suga from Age of Calamity. You've got Calamity Ganon, Goma, Godan, Bongo Bongo, Phantom Ganondorf, Burn, Chancellor Cole, and Vati, and then of course the main 4 villains from Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, who each have their own boss battle. We also have a collection of mini bosses, and I know that Dark Link could technically come under boss because of Zelda 2. However, I chose to include him as a mini boss, as this interpretation is directly based off Ocarina of Time. Of course, we have everything here from the Forest Temple's Stalfos mini boss to the Skirvo fight to the Dark Lizalfos of the Fire Sanctuary, Dead Hand, the Mighty Dark Nut from Tower of the Gods, the Chilphos battle to get the boss key in Twilight Princess, the Dark Nut from Temple of Time, Terrico, technically, that's a bit of a weird one, and the Phantoms, although technically there's no physical encounter with them, it's more of like a stealth mission, but I camped it all the same, and then Magmar Main as well. As far as overworld bosses go, we have a couple more here. The Guardians do count for this because, well, they're in the overworld, along with the Hinox from Breath of the Wild, and I chose to include the Big Octo of the Great Sea here because technically they're in the overworld. They look like a pretty menacing lineup. Quite a lot of our large brick-built characters based off these guys. Next up, we have the champions from Breath of the Wild. Again, something that I've never actually done is put all 6 of them together, and once again they look absolutely fantastic in a lineup next to each other, even though the drawing style on Daruk and Rivali is starting to look just a tad dated, but they all look fantastic. It's still really pleased. We also have the Yiga army, made up of Suga and just a load of Yiga clan soldiers, who look great in mass because obviously they all appear in big rows. Still missing Koga, but he is coming and you can buy his helmet as well. We also have all of my Christmas figures, which is my non-canon advent calendars, and we have everything here from Santa Chancellor Cole to the Cookie Chew, Elf, Link and Zelda, the Gingerbread Link, Santa Ganondorf, Santa Linebeck, just all over the place. Some really wacky things here, including the Ganondorf statue from Wind Waker decorated as a Christmas tree. Either way, I thought it was cute, it's a bit of fun, I enjoyed making these advent calendars, and this is the first time we've seen them all together. Then we have, of course, my Choo Choo collection, my pride and joy. We've already managed to get our blue, electric and red Choo Choos, and of course our 2 advent variants. We're still missing quite a few colours, and I promise I will get to them eventually. But again, you have to have the right custom sets, but here they all are together. We also have Goma with all of her children, just lots of Goma kids. This is something I'd want to do if they ever made a Goma, is make all of the babies. And then we have the cannon fodder. I've been waiting to get to this one, but we have every single variant of Lizalfos, the Moblin, the Stalfos from later in Ocarina of Time, Redead, Choo Choos, Bokoblins, just everything that you slash through in large quantities is pretty much here, including the Yiga foot soldiers. So quite a nice mix up, very eclectic, very Zelda, and I'd be very pleased to have this as a display if LEGO made these kind of figures. Then, of course, we have the Sheikah as a whole, and this is, of course, only Breath of the Wild, so this is Sheikah Tech. We've got Monk Maz Kosha in his small and large form, as well as the monks from Breath of the Wild, Terrico, old Robbie Pura Impa, young Robbie Pura Impa, Sheikah Tribe members, the Guardian Scouts, the Master Cycle Zero mold I made for the Monk Maz Kosha's final trial set, and our Ancient Armor Link, because technically it's Sheikah Tech as well. We also have the Revolution from Twilight Princess. This is a group of figures that I have not actually put together before, including Telma, because she technically leads them, I guess. But you've also got the 4 of them and then Telma all together for the first time. As well as the combined figures for the Wagon Escort, because I split Ilya off into the CMF2 and left Rallis and Telma in Prince Rallis Wagon Escort. So this is the first time that all 3 of these figures have come together. And then we also have the Castle Town Citizens. And these guys sort of look great, to be honest. I really like how they look. They're just generic Twilight Princess people. Two of them are literally based off background cameo appearances that like aren't even real characters, that don't have names and stuff. But you've also got Charlo, Old Man Ho-Ho, the Star Circus manager, and Agatha here. We've also got a collection of Breath of the Wild wanderers, so these are people that I describe as just either random NPCs that walk around or non-canon appearances. So we've got Misko from the journals here, obviously in his own form, that is technically my own design. We also have Cedro the blacksmith, Cass the accordion player, Tracy, the reporter of the rumour mill, who appears in Gerudo Town, and then also Loon and Roscoe, of course, and these are all of our wanderers from Breath of the Wild. We also have a collection of characters from Majora's Mask here, who all share one thing in common, that is providing you with side quests. Of course, we have the MM Blacksmiths, we have the Beaver Bros, and Anju and Cafe and a Cuckoo as well. Awesome lineup. Again, this would just look perfect on a shelf. I really wish we had these. And that's actually all of the shots I have for you on individual characters. I wanted just to go through the wave 1, 2, 3 and Digilink waves just for a second as well. And then actually I've whipped up some special posters to take a look at today, as if we were promoting the waves like movies, and we'll take a look at those before we finish today. But you're just going to see it develop over time here, and wow, wave 1 looks so small and feels so long ago now. I mean, we're basically at 2 years now. I started wave 2 in spring of 2020, even though they wouldn't be posted on my channel until October, November of 2020, and I don't regret a thing. This was such a cool project to work on, and I'm so excited to go into wave 4. Here was the wave 2 characters, a little bit smaller, but some more brick built stuff, and definitely a bit more cramped on the page. And then we had Digilink, which had all of these cool characters. You can see Gleok on the back, as well as NES Ganon. And then Wave 3, which actually had a smaller roster of characters thanks to me cutting the Majora's Mask clock down, at least for the time being. We might go back and do it. But what we're going to go and do now is take a look at those awesome posters. I'm really pleased with them, so let's go and do that right now. So, sorry for the vertical format. I wanted these to be like movie billboard posters, so I hope you can put up with the black bars for a couple of seconds. So here is the Wave 1 poster on the old map background, just like how the box was originally intended to be, just like a dungeon map. And you can see we've got a large selection of our Wave 1 characters. Not everyone, just as if it was a movie poster. You've got Link and Zelda in the front, you've got Girahim and Zant at the back, along with everyone else in between. We then moved on to Wave 2, and we've got our Wave 2 poster here on our Malice backdrop, and you can see that not only did my poster skills improve a little bit, but my structuring as well. You've got all the big characters from Wave 2 here, all my favourites, Zelda and Link once again, two of the champions, our own boss Faramus, the monks and stuff, just a great selection of characters with Ganondorf taking front and centre at the back. Then you've got the Wave Digi poster, which is possibly my favourite because of the unique custom background designed to represent the Mario system. You've got almost everyone from Wave Digi on here, including Digilink, one of my favourite figures I've ever drawn, at the top of the screen, looking wonderful as always. And then, of course, we have the Wave 3 one to finish up, where taking front and centre, we have Sheikah Short's Link, as well as Medley and Makar, with the Hinox taking the big brooding position at the back, and then having everyone else in between. A great composition again. I think the Wave Digi one's my favourite, but I do have a soft spot for the Wave 2 and 3 ones. Wave 1 just isn't quite as good as far as posters go. But either way, leaving you on that note, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, taking a nice look back and seeing what kind of things I have produced for you guys. Like, these are the characters you could have if these existed in real life. Like, these are the groupings, these are everyone we have so far, as well as it gives you an idea of some glaring omissions. Apart from the ones I've mentioned, is there anyone in particular that you guys are waiting for that I have not drawn yet? I cannot promise that it will happen soon, but I will let you know down below if they are on a custom set plan to occur at some point in the next year, maybe. And I might actually start working on Wave 4 now. So, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.